It's waxing lyrical, baby.
Hello, Waxers, and welcome to Waxing Lyrical with Mainz and Dutts. I'm your host, Mainz, sounds like the Scouse, Barry White, and my partner in Rainford is Mr. Neil Dutton. How are we, Neil?
Worrying times when I'm the healthiest sounding one on this podcast.
Yeah, so I apologise now for the multitudes of coughs that you may hear throughout the pod. I will try and mute myself, but we'll see how it goes. Apologies also for last week, as we did actually record an absolutely stellar 45 minutes. However, my sound didn't work, so it would have been 45 minutes of blocks of silence followed by Neil talking.
A bit like my relationship with most people, to be honest.
No comment. So yeah, we apologise for that, and hopefully this week we will do better. He says,
but we got everything right.
We got everything right.
Absolutely nailed it across the board.
In truth though, Dutton, I think scored 143 points in my daily fantasy head to head. I came 83rd in that NFL International Series. I didn't win anything, just thought I'd tell everyone. This week, standard fare, the hot wax takes, and Dutton's already told me mine are smouldering. Whether that means they're any good, only time will tell. Week 5 games of the week. We got obviously Dutton's fantasy darling, his fantasy loser, and then me and Dutts give you our daily fantasy teams of the week. To be honest, Dutton, let's get straight on the show with the hot wax takes. With me first, Dutton. As you said, these are smouldering takes. Andrew Luck's going to ask for a trade in the summer. This team is a debacle, and not not Andrew Luck's fault. But could you imagine how bad this team would be if they would have picked Robert Griffin, for example, rather than Andrew Luck?
The last time I tried to conjure up such a thought, I had to change the bed sheets.
They're just an awful team, and anybody who had the misfortune, especially to be in Wembley for that first half, it's just, sorry, we only get 3 games a year and we don't really get a choice in them.
It was truly, I mean, we can say this with the benefit of hindsight or whatnot, but it was truly an inept display by 2 bottom feeders of the NFL.
Yeah, it was. It didn't make me think, ooh, Jacksonville, they might go somewhere now they've won a game. It was like, ooh, these 2 teams are not good.
You know the way
and
we say with
hype about the AFC South. How's that working out for you?
Yeah, you know the way they say with some games, where they didn't lose, they just ran out of time.
Yeah.
In like shootouts. This was one of the games, but it was the other way. It was if one of these teams has another possession, they'll just find a better way to lose this game.
Yeah. I mean, the issue when your quarterback, who has been known to run in the past, only has to run for a yard, is so scared of getting killed as he's been all game or the last 3 years. He tries to throw it instead of taking 3 steps.
But if you remember on the Gridiron show, when Mr. Gavin asked Andrew Luck, if you're 2 minutes to go, you're on your own 20-yard line, you want to win the Super Bowl, which 2 players from NFL history do you want with you? He said T.Y. Hilton and Dwayne Allen. I think he may change his mind on one of them. I
think you're right, Dutton. What's your hot wax take, Dutton?
The best wide receiver in Houston is Will Fuller.
He's really good, right? If you like college football, people, can I recommend the Solid Verbal? It's very similar to this. One guy who works in IT and another guy who works for a multitude of outlets. He actually works for SB Nation, and they talk about college football. And one of them supports Notre Dame, where Big Will Fuller went, as they christened him. They said he was good, and boy, has he proved it. And especially with that punt return.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins had 1 catch last week. 1 catch. And this is, we go through, the first few weeks of the season. These are the comparable numbers. Will Fuller has 19 receptions from 30 targets, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins has 17 catches, 33 targets, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns. In the red zone, Fuller is 3 of 3 for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hopkins has seen 3 targets and hasn't caught one of them.
See, I understand what you're saying, and I think Will Fuller's been excellent. But I've seen DeAndre Hopkins, so this isn't a DeAndre Hopkins issue. This is a Brock Osweiler issue.
I've seen him win games in the NFL. I've seen him lose games in the NFL. I've never seen him play well in a game in the NFL.
No, I don't
he
know.
just he fails the eyeball test every single time.
He's beige at best, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's 15 to 20 in the league.
But they already had, they had a 15 to 20 that they could have had for $2 million a year, and they paid this fella like 5 to 10 or 5 to 1.
In theory, they've improved from say 22nd to 16th at best. Yeah. Well done.
Great allocation of funds.
Yeah, bravo. That won't be Julio Jones's only 300-yard game this season. He will do it again.
You're a nutcase.
Did you watch that game? It was unfreaking believable. So let me tell you why. Right? It was unfreaking believable. Carolina are nowhere near that bad. I know for a fact he's still got the Saints at home, and he'll play at least, I think, 6 more games on turf in a dome. This is not beyond the realms of possibility.
The Falcons, the Panthers did find out pretty early on that, oh look, you can't cover Julio Jones with cap space. But the people they did have covering him, I'm sorry, these aren't real people. You've made these names up.
You're not convinced by Ben Jarvis, Ben Wickery then? No, is that what you're trying to tell me?
Wasn't he in the Pickwick Papers?
I'm guessing so. I just look and think like we all we want things to be good in the NFL. We want to see excellent things. So why wouldn't I cheer on for a situation where Julio Jones goes for another 300-yard game? And at the end of the day,
I don't know him.
Well, no. Kyle Shanahan loves feeding that ex-receiver. Do you know what I mean? So he's got a quarterback who loves throwing it to him. He's got an offensive coordinator who's renowned for just throwing it at one person over and over again. And by the way, Julio Jones is a centaur. He's not human. He can't be human.
I don't own him in any of my 11 leagues, so I can't be bothered seeing him do it again.
No, I don't own him in any of my leagues either. Let's see. Okay, here we go. At Denver, at Seattle. Okay, let's knock that off. Not happening. Versus San Diego. No Jason Verrett now, by the way. Versus Green Bay. At Tampa. At Philly. At home to Arizona. At home to Kansas City. Anyone know how Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger did against Kansas City? At home, I can't remember. At the Rams. At home to San Francisco. Away at Carolina. I think he's already shown us he can do it against them. And at home to the Saints in Week 17.
I'm confident, and I'm pretty certain. If I take the field and say he will not have another 300-yard game.
Well, you take the field, you boring arse, and I'll take Julio Jones, and we'll see how we get on. Next one's on.
And the San Diego Chargers have found the replacement finally for Antonio Gates in Double H Hunter Henry.
That is. Was he from Alabama? Was he from college, I think?
Arkansas.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You like what you saw last week?
I like what I've seen the last few weeks. I mean, I think he's caught 90% or 80% of his targets, and season's only 4 weeks old. But so far, he has the 7th most fantasy points per game of any rookie tight end since 2010. Which, historically, it's a difficult position for rookies. It's not a big number, I should stress, but he's in an offense that is bereft of playmakers. His number's only going to go up, especially if Gates can't get.
I mean, and that was what I was going to say. Dutton. Let's be brutally honest. We're two inches away from getting a call from San Diego. Do you know what I mean? They are got no one left. It's last man standing.
Absolutely. I mean, if they lose Rivers, they may as well surrender.
Rivers in New York, Eli in San Diego. Okay, no, sorry. Rivers in Philadelphia, Manning in San Diego, Big Ben in New York. What happens?
Chaos.
Chaos. It's like Sliders. Do you remember that TV show from BBC Two?
Yeah, it was six. It was in the 6 o'clock. The long dark tea time of the soul. They used to all. It was like they had like on Mondays it was Battlestar Galactica. On Wednesdays it was Star Trek Next Generation. And I think Thursdays was Sliders.
So you slid into different dimensions, parallel universes. That's your parallel universe I'd like to see. Because Eli Manning would be garbage. Phil Rivers would be in Pittsburgh and be awesome. And I'd be interested to see how Ben Roethlisberger dealt with Odell Beckham Jr.
I tell you this though, Eli Manning, the speed he was getting the ball out of his hand and onto the turf on Monday night was incredible.
Oh, it's fantastic, wasn't it? That's fear. That's unadulterated fear.
Marino-esque ball release speed to hit the deck that quickly. It was brilliant.
Speaking of the NFC Eastern quarterbacks, the Dallas Cowboys quarterback will cost them a playoff spot this season, and that's right, that's the starting one, Tony Romo. Don't mess with a good thing. I know we're in this, you don't lose your job to injury.
Bollocks.
You're playing really well. Why would you try and mess with it?
You lose your job to circumstance. Injury is a circumstance. What Dak Prescott has is, Carson Wentz is getting an awful lot of hyperbole. Dak Prescott is playing very well and is doing exactly what his offense is demanding of him. He's not losing the game, which is what this Dallas team want to do. Want the quarterback? They don't want the quarterback to lose them the game. I don't see what, especially the one team that they're saying Romo will be fit to play against. Why would you put him back in against the Eagles, the team that broke him the first time last year?
Don't understand it. Don't understand it. Next one.
The wide receiver to own of the Oakland Raiders is Michael Crabtree, not Amari Cooper.
No arguments here, Dutton. And spoiler alert, we'll get onto the Raiders a little bit later on. But tell me why Crabtree's the one to go for.
Well, for a kickoff, Amari Cooper's allergic to the end zone. He's yet to score. Crabtree has 4 touchdowns. 3 came last week. And again, red zone work. 3 of 3, 20 yards, 3 touchdowns. So Crabtree, 0 of 2 targets for Amari Cooper. It's since Crabtree left the 49ers, what was that stat that I saw? He has something like, I think it's 12 receiving touchdowns. The 49ers don't think I've had 12 receiving touchdowns and wide receivers.
That was a mistake by them, big time. But added to the litany of other ones. Final one for me, Dutton. This is hot take on hot take. Raiders, Rams, Bills. See you in January.
I'm not commenting on that.
No, I know. Your final one for you, Dutton. I'm not commenting on either. I'm just saying it.
No, I just have the 3. All I'll say is, which would be better? Jeff Fisher's team going 7-9 under normal circumstances, or starting 5-1 and then going 7-9?
Yeah, and then announcing his 15-year extension.
They should announce that now. He should be praying they announce it now.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, Dutton. Don't think they're going to do that. You know what, Dutton? That's our takes. Let's get on with the games of the week.
The games of the week.
Touchdown, 85 yards. He's going to score. He's going to score. He's going to score. Touchdown.
Love Gus Johnson. First game, Dutton. We just talked about Michael Crabtree, and it's Michael Crabtree's Oakland Raiders. They're at home to the Chargers, who we've also mentioned, who you talked about with Hunter Henry. The over-under is 50. My first question to you is, Derek Carr pushed himself to the fantasy starter every week category?
He's completing 68% of his passes. He's already thrown for 1,000 yards. He has 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's been sacked twice. Yes. I saw a tweet, the go-ahead score on Sunday to Crabtree. Someone tweeted, that pass from Carr got me pregnant.
The thing that you need to understand from the NFL is, like, most of the quarterbacks are really talented. But, you know, Eli Manning, when he threw it on the floor in 2 seconds, and you know Andrew Luck, who can barely walk, like, Derek Carr could light a cigarette, smoke it, and then throw it. He's got that much time because of his offensive line. You don't understand how much that helps.
The way the ball comes out of his hand it's an absolute joy to watch. It's up there with, you know, pretty looking deep balls. I mean, Flacco throws a nice one. Obviously, Russell Wilson, you know, the sexy deep ball. It just comes out with Carr. It's just a flick of his wrist. It's
for all we know, Dutton, his brother could have been very similar, but he died on the field in Houston, sacked like 80 times a year. So he never got this opportunity to be upright.
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking for David. Derek's, you know, smoking his fag. So if we move on to the Chargers, Dalton, can you think of any more elaborate ways that the Chargers can lose a game that they haven't tried yet? Because I am struggling.
The win percentage, the win probabilities for the games have you got it there?
So I think I've got it here.
It's mind-numbing. It shouldn't happen.
It should be actually physically impossible.
Yeah.
The win percentages are as follows. When they led Kansas City 27-10 with 13:24 left, there was a 99.7 win probability. When they led Indianapolis 22-20 with 2 minutes left, they had an 82% win probability. And when they led New Orleans 34-21 with 8 minutes left in the fourth, there was a 98.6% possibility that they were going to win the game.
One of these happening a season is unlucky. It's fluky. It's freaky. 3, it's not about luck. It's not about probabilities anymore. It's got to come down to bad execution, bad game planning, bad coaching, bad play.
Or you've built your stadium/training facility on an Indian burial ground.
Oh, you've built an Indian burial ground on your stadium.
Well, it is pretty quiet in there.
It's the only way I can conceive losing in a more freaky manner would involve something to do with aliens. That is seriously the only way. They've done everything else.
I thought about it where this time they were behind and they were running into the end zone and Bain blew up the stadium and the guy didn't reach the end zone before the pitch fell in.
Certainly a possibility, yeah.
That within that kind of realm is a possibility, no?
Yeah.
Back on Crabtree, Dutton. You're in. You want him to start. Do you just expect this production to continue for the rest of the season?
Well, he's not going to score 3 touchdowns every game. Obviously, that'll be stupid. But as I've said, they are using him. Carr, the first person he's looking for is Crabtree. I mean, he's only seen 2 more targets than Cooper. They've seen 37 and 35. And Cooper actually has more yards. But as I say, when it comes down to the business area of the field, Carr is looking for Crabtree, not Cooper, not Clive Walford, maybe Seth Roberts. He wants Crabtree. As long as this offense is still functioning, Crabtree's going to be fantasy relevant this year, this season, as long as he stays healthy.
Absolutely done. So it's Chargers at Raiders. It's a interdivisional match, AFC West. The over-under is 50. Give me who's going to win and whether it's an over or an under. I'm
going to take the Raiders, and it's going to be over. This is actually my Survivor pick of the week.
Nice.
This is the deepest into a season I've ever got in Survivor pool, and I'm going with the Raiders.
I think you'd be mad not to pick the Raiders, although be careful. It won't be a blowout. It will be close. But I'm with you, Dutton. I'm looking like 31-28, that kind of number. So I expect it to be over 50.
Yeah. Fumble recovery for a winning touchdown or something.
Yeah, off someone's backside. Maybe hitting someone
in
the head. Next game, Dutton. Probably the game of the week. That's Falcons at Broncos. For reference, the over/under is 47. So the question I've got, Dutton, is obviously in normal scoring fantasy, everyone's picked the teams, so that's kind of relevant. But in DFS, should you start handcuffing Matty Ice and Julio?
Not this week, no. See, what we have here, I was going to say it's failure to communicate, but obviously that would be the opening lines of Civil War by Guns N' Roses. I'm pretty certain that the offensive coordinator of the Falcons and the head coach of the Denver Broncos have some kind of history.
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about, Neil. I think you need to elaborate for the...
Yeah. So Kyle Shanahan was not only former offensive coordinator for Kubiak with the Texans, Kubiak was also the offensive coordinator for Mike Shanahan with the Denver Broncos. So what we know is these two offenses should look remarkably similar. The difference being, one of these teams has Wade Phillips as his defensive coordinator to try and stop this offense. The Falcons have allowed 13 passing touchdowns this season. The Broncos have allowed 2. This is not the week to chase last week's points with Matty Ryan and Julio. And probably not next week either. So, I mean, if anything, the one you want is Lynch or Simeon and Thomas or Sanders. That's the one you want.
And that's the question, Dutton. If we move on to the Broncos, if Simeon doesn't start, and my understanding is he was limited in practice, he only did 7-on-7 drills. He wasn't involved in the rest of the practice. Does the fantasy value of Sanders and Thomas diminish?
No, I don't think it does, because Paxton Lynch has already shown that he's being immersed in this system. And as we keep saying, there's no conflict now. This is the Kubiak offense. It's not the weird Kubiak-Manning hybrid. This is the system they are learning. So Lynch is going to come in, and to be fair, in relief against a pretty ordinary Tampa Bay team, he showed he can work this offense. Gary Kubiak, seriously, how many teams has he had that would have been either were good or would have been good if he didn't have a quarterback who inexplicably lost his arm strength? When's he had a bad quarterback? Other than that one season where Schaub kept throwing pick sixes, every time he's had a quarterback in his system, he's been productive.
True. No, I absolutely don't. I'm disagreeing. I think, everybody was like the demise of the Denver Broncos was greatly exaggerated. Just so everybody's aware, John Elway is not just one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time, but he's putting forward a case to being one of the best GMs of all time as well. The
thing is, though, the strange parallels are, if you remember when they won the Super Bowl in '97, the next year they started out 14-0 because literally the belief of the team, they just kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and then they won the Super Bowl the second season. Seriously, what have you seen in the AFC that should scare the Broncos the way they're playing at the moment?
Nothing,
I don't think that,
because I think the Broncos are better this season than they were last season.
Well, they haven't got a rotting corpse at quarterback, so...
Well, yeah. So, we talked about the Broncos deep. We love Wade Phillips, friend of the show. Absolutely love him. A lot of weeks, if you plug in the Broncos D, it's game on, right?
Mm-hmm.
This week, and I know what you're saying about how many touchdowns. Is this a week to go and look somewhere else rather than the Broncos D, just in case?
No, I especially think at home. There's no reason, I think, where if you own the Broncos D, especially a Wade Phillips defense at home, No, you're not going elsewhere with that. I mean, they're going to be the Falcons are going to be slightly limited because, as we know, if the stadium is called Mile High. It's quite high up. There's altitude. Tevin Coleman has sickle cell illness, which apparently can be exasperated at altitude. So that means they're not going to be able to run the ball with him and Freeman. They don't give up points, fantasy points, certainly to running backs. So Freeman's going to have to play out of his skin. They don't give up fantasy points to wide receivers. They don't let quarterbacks beat them. The only way you can slightly really dent them is through the tight end. Jacob Tamme, very good and reliable. Seriously, are you scheming to get him 15 targets? I really don't think you are. You go with the Broncos D. If you're lucky to have the Broncos D, you line them up every week.
Okay, Dutton. Falcons at Broncos. Who's going to win? And the over/under is 47.
Broncos are going to win, and I'm going to take the under.
Oh, I hate agreeing. I'm with you. I see like a 24-17 type affair. Broncos, as you said, I love Julio Jones and Matty Ice has been excellent this season, but Von Miller's going to be getting his post in the Atlanta backfield as per.
Mm-hmm.
Final game of the week done. Jets at Steelers. Over/under is 48.5. First question is on the Jets. Really, is the Jets secondary as bad as advertised? 4 weeks in, and all 4 quarterbacks they played have had a QBR over 105.
They're allowing the most passes to be completed of any team. I think it's like 72% of all passes they're allowed to be completed. Beavis is not a shutdown corner anymore. They may as well move him to safety because he's never been quick. So he's never had that in his locker. But now he can't cover. So now he may as well be someone who can help, because I'm sure he can still diagnose and read the plays, but he can't actually do them. So the defense is bad. The defensive front is exceptional. It's so mean, nasty, and it gets after the quarterback, despite the fact they still don't have a good edge rusher. Unfortunately, if you can keep them at bay for 3 seconds, you're getting burnt.
And that leads us on to the Steelers, and the question I have on them is, at the moment, do they have the number 1 quarterback, wide receiver, and running back in the league?
I'm trying to think of anyone that would be comparable. On their day, when fully fit and firing, you'd have to say yes.
It's frightening that Le'Veon Bell came back from whichever Cheech and Chong film he'd been starring in, and it was like he never missed a beat, and that means that defenses have another problem to deal with, and it's a serious problem, as Kansas City found out.
And of course, the way that they used Bell against Kansas City, that probably might be a blueprint for how they're going to go going forward, given the inconsistencies of their other wide receivers. He lined up times as a wide receiver. He only lined up 26 times as a wide receiver last season. In 2014, his that epic season. If they're going to start using him, because the Jets, as we know, are very stingy to running backs. But that's when you assume the running backs have, got the ball in the hand, are going to run at them. If they're catching passes somewhere else in the field, and, you've got someone like Bell, or say, who's lining up elsewhere and is catching the ball, straight away you start thinking a different way, especially in fantasy, when you're the daily fantasy, when you're thinking, everyone's, the chalk play is not to go against the Jets. They don't give up points to running backs. But Bell, if he's going to get played more as a wide receiver, you think, there's actually a bit of value there. So... And, of course, the Jets have allowed 3 receiving touchdowns to running backs this season. Receiving touchdowns to running backs.
Exactly. And question on the Jets, Dutton, really is, as we are slap bang in the eye of the storm of the Fitzpocalypse, should all Jets offensive players be avoided?
Nope.
Who do you want, Dutton? Tell me.
I want them all. I still want Marshall. I want Decker when he's fit. I want Enunwa, because the defense is that bad. They're going to be. They haven't got. They don't have the option of sitting on the running game. They have to keep throwing the ball. Fitzpatrick is a gunslinger. As I don't know if anyone's mentioned, he went to Harvard. He certainly doesn't play like someone who's had an Ivy League education. He keeps throwing the ball. Now, Brandon Marshall only has to, catch, 3 of them, that are contested. Eric Decker, when he gets back fit, if he does this season, he scores touchdowns. It's what he does. Fitzpatrick feeds these people. He's going to keep... And ultimately, if he throws interceptions, so what? That just means the next time he gets on the field, he'll throw again. He doesn't go into his shell when he throws picks. You want wide receivers who have quarterbacks who keep throwing no matter what.
And in theory, let's be brutally honest, he could throw $1 billion. They're not bringing Geno Smith in.
No, they've made that abundantly clear.
Because if Geno Smith can't get in after 9 interceptions in 2 games, he's never getting in.
No. He literally needs some kind of... The Chargers lose in bizarre fashion, somehow involving Ryan Fitzpatrick disappearing. That's the only way that the Jets will put Geno Smith back in.
Jets at Steelers, Dutton. It's over-unders 48.5.
The Steelers, as we know, do have a problem of sometimes playing down to the level of their opposition. We've said this quite a lot. But I sense that they literally got their comeuppance game this season in week 3. So I think Tomlin is going to be very, 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 determined to make sure that they stay the course. The Jets have got no reason to offer me any confidence that they're going to go into Pittsburgh and win.
I look at it, Dutton, and I think, how does someone stop the Steelers scoring 30 points in a game? Probably the Broncos.
Legally?
Probably the Broncos, and that's it. The Jets are definitely not the Broncos on D. They score, 34? Jets only need 15, yeah. It's Steelers in the over, and I'm not sure it's close, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dutton, before everybody hears it on Gridiron, let's have your fancy darling.
Hello, darling.
Main fancy darling this week is a redemption story. It's Terrence West, Justin Forsett and the Ravens mutually parted ways. What bollocks is this? Mutually parted ways. My arse.
When did they start becoming like football managers?
I know. Rubbish. And to be honest, Forsett was terrible this season. Awful. 3.1 yards per carry or something. In fact, sorry, I don't even think it was that high. I think he had 98 yards on 31 carries. That is abysmal. Terrence West came in against the Raiders. Again, and bear in mind, we say how pass happy the Ravens are. 23 rushes, 113 yards, 1 touchdown. So you've got this job now. You're probably set up. You've had a good start. What do you want? Who do you want to face to help you maintain that start?
There's only one team you want to face, and that's the Washington semi-professional football team.
Absolutely. Couldn't stop a running nose. Yeah. Couldn't stop a running nose.
They are the cure for the common run. The cure for the common run game.
Yeah. So Terrence West is going to have himself a day.
Dutton, let's find out. Fantasy loser.
Anyone who is buying into the hype that Odell Beckham is not going to have a good game this week, you're all losers. People who are asking, should I trade Odell Beckham? Please do.
I'll take
so
him.
Then we can all laugh at you. Seriously, the only thing different about Odell Beckham this season and last season is touchdowns. Yeah, I know, he's coming across as immature. He's not a leader. He's getting beaten up by kicking nets. He's having general managers talking to him in the changing room. So what? He's the biggest problem with the Giants. The Giants spent $200 million this year. Do you know how many sacks they've got?
Is it 1?
0.
Oh, is it 0?
I think it's 2, I think. Do you know how many interceptions they've got?
0? 1?
0.
0?
0. Yeah, this is all Odell Beckham's fault, is it?
I watched that game, right, and everybody, if you talk back a week to the Washington game, all everybody tells me is the Giants threw that game away. Don't want to know if anybody knows this, but the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week was Dustin Hopkins. You know why? Because he kicked 5 field goals, all inside 40 yards. we didn't. The Giants didn't. We didn't. The Giants didn't give it away. Washington couldn't score a touchdown. If Washington would have scored a touchdown, he would have blew them out.
I'm not being funny. This is, Ben McAdoo has been running this offense for 2 years. So Beckham's not getting, he's getting jammed. Well, are you not clever enough to, you always say about Mike McCarthy, scheme him out.
Exactly.
Where did McAdoo come from? Green Bay. Scheme him out and get him on, jet sweeps, put him in the slot, put him in the backfield. Don't just keep putting him out there on an island with someone who, they are going to talk to him and get into his head. For God's sake, put the ball in his hands any way you can. Don't just leave him out there. And he's got that fiery edge. It's not good sometimes. It's not a good example. So what? Get him the ball and you might win a few games. He's not the problem.
Where was I when wide receivers became like role models?
I know.
I missed that memo.
Yeah, I didn't realise that I'm trying to think. I didn't realise they were all Raymond Berry. I'm terribly sorry.
It's just not good, isn't it? Fancy darling, Terrence West. Fancy loser. Anybody who thinks they want to drop or trade Odell Beckham. Love it.
Call me.
Love it. At me, yeah.
I've got Michael Floyd on my bench in a ton of leagues. I'll happily trade you.
Yeah. That's it, Dutton. Let's get on with our daily fancy team of the week.
Mainz and Dutts. Daily fantasy team of the week.
Show me the money.
Quarterback, Dutton.
Well, as we said, I don't know if we said it in the Lost episode or if we said it the week before, the quarterback is the last person I pick. So I've gone for someone who has 2 300-yard games in his last 2 games, and he's going up against the Indianapolis Colts, Mr. Brian Hoyer. $5,500.
That's. I'm comfortable that like you've done that. It's just a wow. I just need to take that in. Okay, Dutton's gone for Brian Hoyer. Okay. So what I've done, Dutton, is I've kind of gone a bit WWE on that. Cause can you hear that? Oh my God, Dutton, that's Tom Brady's music. And who's that? Oh my God, there's a jobber in the ring. Oh, this is gonna be a squash match. Yeah, icy squash match. So I picked Tom Brady. He was 7,500. He could have been 10,000, and I would have picked him.
Did you see the worst meme in the history of memes?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's like, who, we'll tweet it out from the Wax and Lyrical account, but seriously, memes are supposed to be, funny or clever, not crap.
It was none of those things.
Yeah.
Dutton, who is your running back one?
Well, running back one, subbing as essentially wide receiver, Le'Veon Bell.
Nice, Dutton. Nice.
He is 7,500.
And is just for those who are unaware, really good.
Yeah.
In a similar kind of look, that team's playing a crap team. I picked Jordan Howard, running back for the Chicago Bears. It looks like injuries to Langford and Kadeem Carey mean he will get the bulk of the carries. He's playing the Indianapolis Colts. They suck. But
you don't lose your job to injury, so obviously Langford will come back in.
$5,200 says otherwise. He's running back too, Dutton.
Terrence Go West.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Bully those Washington teams, Dutton. Bully them.
4,800 and a snip.
That's a snip. I looked at that and I was like, okay, DraftKings, what you need to do is start increasing prices based on teams are playing. Like, Terrence West should be like 9,000. He's playing Washington. Yeah, he can't stop a cold.
He should be the most expensive running back, most expensive player in this game this week. Terrence West.
Wide receiver one, Dutton.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, love it, Dutton.
Sam Shields is probably going to be missing for the Packers. So, he's going to go up against, a mid-card jobber or curtain jerker. But, of course, there's a very good possibility that, this game could end up 0-0 because neither team can coach players open.
Good point. How much is Odell?
Odell is 8,500. And the Packers actually, the Giants are probably going to have to take to the air anyway because the Packers have been quite good against the run this season, but they are 31st against the pass. So,
wide receiver one for me is #free. That's Julian Edelman. See previous comments on Tom Brady for details.
His tag team partner, basically.
Tag team partner. Oh my God, he's hit him with a chair. By God, he's broke him in half. Wide receiver 2 done.
Baltimore have allowed 3 wide receivers to score multiple touchdowns against them this season. Just think about in 4 games. So at $5,900 after 1 catch for 5 yards last week, Deshaun Jackson.
Nice done. Nice lot what he did there. I'm not going to talk about it because it's Washington. My wide receiver 2 is, by the way, Julian Edelman was 6,700. My wide receiver 2 is Jarvis Landry. He's playing Tennessee. They suck. I expect Miami to throw it to him a lot. They always do. He's 7,000. Wide receiver 3 done.
You say Miami suck. The Tennessee suck. Miami's defense is abysmal. It got torched by AJ Green. I'm not saying Tajay Sharp is AJ Green, but apparently Mike Mularkey has ensured an improvement in the passing game. According to the blurb I saw, the only way you could ensure an improvement to your teammate is by handing your resignation. But anyway, I digress. I've gone for Tajay Sharp, 4,400. The Dolphins, their secondary is awful. And who'd have thought Byron Marshall was crap? Got benched. So, Sharp is he's the only real wide receiver they've got because, I'm sorry, Andre Johnson and Harry Douglas aren't happening. They're not things anymore. So if they are going to try and test teams deep, they have to go to Sharp. So he's my oh look, I had $4,400 left at this team. So
my wide receiver 3 is Demaryius Thomas. Questionable at the moment, but 6,900. And as you said, Atlanta like giving up touchdowns. So yes, I honestly don't.
Yeah, I don't think you could go wrong with either Thomas or Sanders.
At the end of the day, I think Sanders was maybe $200 less, and it was like a toss-up. And last week I picked Sanders, so this week I picked Demaryius Thomas.
Nice.
Who's your tight end, Dutton?
Hunter Henry. The Raiders. Dennis Pitta didn't come to the party last week, which I said he wouldn't.
No one knows,
but the Raiders.
No one knows that we both picked Dennis Pitta, so.
Yeah. Hunter Henry, as I say, the Raiders give up loads, they give up huge chunks of yards to tight ends. The weapons are diminishing for the San Diego Chargers, and Henry was 3,300. There are rumours that Gates might play, but if he does, you'd have to imagine he'd be on a pitch count. So hopefully Henry will get the bulk of the work.
I went with Zach Ertz, Dutton. Your Zach Ertz of the Philadelphia Eagles against Detroit. 3,500. Detroit on a slump. Zach Ertz back after missing a couple of weeks with a displaced rib. Sounds painful. Full participants in practice yesterday, I believe. I expect Carson Wentz to look for him because that's what rookie quarterbacks tend to do.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was listening to Bleeding Green Nation radio this week, and they were saying that the partnership they want to see for the next 10, 15 years, whatever it is, it's not so much Wentz and Matthews, it's Wentz and Ertz. That literally these are the two, that they should be connecting because Ertz does have the ability to be that game-breaking talent. So, yeah, that's a good show.
Who's your flex option, Dutton?
Jordan Howard. I'm going for the Howard Hoyer stack.
Nice. Any more to add on Howard that we mentioned before when I made him my running back one?
Why did it take this long? I know the answer why it took this long to realise he's better. The answer is Dowell Loggins.
Danger zone. Wild away. Oh, that's Kenny Loggins. Sorry, my bad. Flex Dutton. You'll sense a pattern. Same as my running back. Two. Sorry, is this is the 31st team in terms of third down conversion conceded is 46%. The Washington semi-professional football team are at 57%. They allow 57% third down conversion. At 5,300, Steve Smith will be picking a fight with someone, probably for his 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Steve Smith has got no business looking as good as he did against the Raiders, coming back off the injury he had, and at his age. I mean, was it 37 or 38? I mean, we're 35. Some mornings I can't get out of bed. No, I certainly don't want to go. I don't want to go and run routes.
He's not human. Who's your defense, Dalton?
Revenge game. The Philadelphia Eagles defense. Jim Schwartz going back to the Ford Field for the second time as an opposing DC. The Eagles, by the way, have not allowed a passing touchdown this season.
Weren't you supposed to be crap? Hadn't we agreed? I thought everyone in the room had agreed that you were crap this year. I was comfortable that there was a long-term project and you were good. I wasn't ready for you to be good this year.
No, I remember someone arguing that there was, that there probably weren't 5 teams in the NFL worse than the Eagles. I'm sure the audio's out there somewhere.
I wouldn't know, Dutton. I probably lost it.
Yeah, true. Whopper.
My defense is, although you said the garbage is Miami, because do you know what's garbage at the moment? Marcus Mariota. That isn't happening. This is what happens when quarterbacks get bad coaches. They turn him into bad quarterbacks. There should be a hashtag free Mariota. That should come with a t-shirt, maybe a hat. Make Mariota great again. Because he is being killed in Tennessee.
Exotic smash dick isn't doing anything. Yeah.
It's not done. So let's recap, Dutton. Quarterback.
Brian Hoyer.
It's just hilarious every time you say it. Yeah, I've gone for Tom Brady. Running back.
Le'Veon Bell.
I've gone for Jordan Howard. Running back 2.
Terrence West.
Terrence West, indeed. Wide receiver 1.
Odell Beckham Jr.
I've gone for Tom Brady's binky, Julian Edelman. Wide receiver 2.
Deshaun Jackson.
I've gone for Jarvis Landry. Wide receiver 3.
Tajay Sharp.
I've got Demaryius Thomas. Who's your tight end, Dutton?
Double H, Hunter Henry.
I've got for Zach Ertz. Who's your flex?
Jordan Howard.
And I've gone for Steve Smith Sr. And your defense finally?
Philadelphia Eagles.
And I've gone for the Miami Dolphins. That's it. Week 5 show in the books. As we said, apologies for week 4. It does exist, but it has no sound for half of it. So I'm the tech guy, so I take full responsibility. Any final words, Dalton?
No.
This has been Waxing Lyrical. Get used to it.